Folks, today is Friday, July 2nd, 2021. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, Sha'Carri Richardson, who was expected to compete for the gold medal in the Tokyo Olympics representing the United States, has tested positive for marijuana. She will not be able to run the 100. Is it unfair that she got a 30-day suspended sentence? Lots of conversation, folks, about this. We're going to talk about this on today's show. Also on today's show, we continue the battle when it comes to voting in this country. The latest is what will now happen? Will Democrats get even more aggressive in combating Republican voter suppression? Also, in Kentucky, former state senator Charles Booker said he is going to be running against Senator Rand Paul in next year's election. We will talk to him on today's show. Also, in our Education Matters segment, we'll talk with Darrell Bradford, who is the new president of 50K and the Ed Reform Group. Folks, lots to discuss on today's show. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
All right, folks, let's get right to it. Our top story is Sha'Carri Richardson, the track phenom out of LSU, who hails from Dallas, Texas, was expected to compete for the gold medal for the United States in the Tokyo Olympics in 100 meters. But before the youth Olympic trial, she tested positive for marijuana. The decision came down, was announced today. She got a 30-day ban as a result. Here's the problem. The heats for the 100 meters actually begins within that window. She will not be able to run the 100 at the Olympics. A lot of folks have been talking about this all day, some calling this grossly unfair, saying that black athletes are being targeted. Others say the rules are the rules. She broke them. That's the case. I want to go right to my panel to talk about this here. Faraji Ahmed, a radio and television host out of Baltimore. We also have Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network, and Brittany Lee Lewis, political analyst. Okay, Brittany, let's start with you. Is this unfair that Sha'Carri Richardson will not be able to compete for 30 days because she failed a test? She went on the Today Show. She admitted that she did indeed do this. She said she made a mistake, has to live with the consequences. Your take?
Yeah, so I'm glad that she's taking accountability for her actions. I think that was absolutely the first thing to do. But I do believe that the rules governing marijuana usage at the Olympics are both vague and extremely subjective, Roland. I think it's pretty clear that marijuana is more therapeutic than it is harmful, since we see it as medicine and it's legalized in more than 30 countries. Not to mention the recreational marijuana is, although it's prohibited by the World Anti-Doping Agency, right, which governs this overall, their rules do state that it can be used in competition if an athlete has an approved therapeutic use exemption. So essentially, athletes can and do use marijuana if they obtain permission in advance. So yes, Sha'Carri should have taken the appropriate channels to get cleared to smoke, but let's be clear, it's not steroids and it's not a performance-enhancing drug. The other reason the committee says that smoking marijuana is against the rules is because it's a violation of the spirit of the sport. And I feel like that's really a vague way of saying you need to be a role model. And I think, again, it's not their job to be role models. I think it's their ability to demonstrate their ability as an athlete when they're competing. And then, of course, lastly, can we give her some humanity? She just lost her mother. She wouldn't be banned if she was using an antidepressant. And if we think of marijuana as a medicine that helps alleviate depression and anxiety, we should really let that girl run. The rules are subjective, outdated, and unfair.
But Faraji, the rules are not subjective. The reality is this here. Every athlete knows the rules. They are given a list of banned substances that they cannot use. They are tested. They know they are tested. Anybody who also knows that when you're the run up to the U.S. Olympic trials, you're going to be tested. And so the bottom line is she knew the rules. She broke them.
Absolutely, brother Roland. I mean, she knew the rules. She did break them, and it's unfortunate that she broke them because I was rooting for Sha'Carri as well. But I think that we have to. I mean, this is a slippery slope because we know. I mean, whether you're talking about track and field or any other sport, marijuana. And I hear what my sister is saying that it's kind of subjective. It's going to be used for therapeutic, but at the end of the day, athletes cannot use marijuana a day or two or a couple of days before they're about to go and compete. It's just not acceptable. It's just not acceptable. I think that Sha'Carri did an excellent thing. She took ownership. She made herself accountable. But I don't think we should get into this part of trying to apologize and breaking the rules because it goes down a slippery slope. If we say, okay, she can use it. Is it because of the emotional attachment? Is it because of the fact that, yes, I agree with you, athletes shouldn't be seen as role models, but guess what? They are role models and they can't run away from it. Okay. So we know that they don't get paid the big bucks. LeBron James and Michael Jordan. I mean, when you go down the litany of athletes, male or female, people love role models. So this, at this point, it was a bad choice, a bad decision. Unfortunately, it cost her a lot, but I hope and pray that she's able to learn from the situation and kind of get back into the game.
As I said, she went on the Today Show where she talked about exactly what happened. Here's what she said.
I want to take responsibility for my actions. I know what I did. I know what I'm supposed to do. No, I'm allowed not to do, and I still made that decision. But not making an excuse or looking for any empathy in my case, but just, however, being in that position of my life. Finding out something like that, something that I would say is probably one of the biggest things that have impacted me positively and negatively in my life when it comes to dealing with the relationship I have with my mother. So that definitely was a very heavy topic on me, and people don't understand what it's like to have to, or people do. We all have our different struggles. We all have our different things we deal with. But to put on a face, to have to go in front of the world and put on a face and hide my pain. I don't know, who are you or who am I to tell you how to cope when you're dealing with a pain or you're dealing with a struggle that you've never experienced before or that you've never thought you would have to deal with. Like, who am I to tell you how to cope? Who am I to tell you that you're wrong for hurting? So I think just honestly, just leading up to that, dealing with my mental health, dealing with my mental as is with leading up to the games. Every time stepping on the track, definitely expect it to be a record-breaking time or something like that. So just with that, pressure in itself was also just another thing. With this actually been my first full professional career, my first full professional circuit this year due to the pandemic. So just considering all of that put together, long time, my agent, my sponsor, my sponsorship, my family, knowing me dealing with all of this stuff. So.
All right, so here's what happened. So she had discovered from a reporter that her biological mother had passed away.
Right.
So what her folks were saying is that then for her to cope, then she actually took marijuana. Michael, obviously anybody can empathize with that devastating news.
Right.
But there's also a reality.
Mm-hmm.
You've been running track your whole life. You've been running track in high school. You ran track at LSU. You now are a world-class sprinter. For your entire track life, marijuana has been banned.
Right.
It's on the ban list. This is not, and also it's the rules of your sport. If this is the NFL, where if you fail a drug test, you go into their program, you continue playing. They have a protocol established. The NBA has a protocol established. I understand that this is sports. I understand about healing. We've had people on talk about the therapeutic benefits of it. But the reality is the sport in which you are in, that's simply not allowed. I equate this, and I say this to my nieces and nephews, to other people as well. Marijuana is legal in Washington State, Oregon, California, D.C. But guess what? It's not legal in America. marijuana is not legalized in this country.
Right.
Employers out here can require you to take a drug test. And if you fail the drug test, you can't get the job. Now, I feel people who say, man, this makes no sense. It's a natural plant. But if everybody knows the rules and you broke the rules, you suffer the consequences of the rules.
Yeah, you know, Roland, this is tragic, and I've researched this as well. So here's my take on this. Number one, she knew the rules up front. Two, there are extenuating circumstances with this. Now, I want people to understand she could have faced a 3-month suspension because that's based upon the rules of the U.S. Anti-doping.
Yeah, could have been 3 months, which means she's completely out of the Olympics. She still has an opportunity to be put on the 4x100 relay team, but she's going to miss the 100 meters, which is where she was favored to win the gold medal.
So basically, athletes who test positive for a substance of abuse, which THC was newly classified as in 2021, usually receive a 3-month suspension if they can establish that their use of the substance occurred out of competition and was unrelated to the sport performance. Now, she entered into a counseling program, so she is only getting a 1-month suspension. Compare that to Michael Phelps in 2009. He got a 3-month suspension. I know people want to erroneously compare this to Michael Phelps. Those are two different situations.
But also for everybody who's watching,
right?
It ain't apples to apples.
Right.
Michael Phelps, a photo was shown
That's what
of
I'm about to say.
Michael Phelps with a bong.
That's what
which was 6 months after the Olympics.
The 2000 Olympics.
He never tested positive.
Right.
So I've already seen that. Oh no, Michael Phelps, the white boy, they let the white boy.
Well, this is what happens when people recycle BS memes that they didn't go research before they retweeted them and reposted them. This is what happens when you do this. Because if you had done a 5-minute Google search, you would have realized that Michael Phelps lost sponsorship from Kellogg. He lost the Olympics withdrew financial support from him, and his suspension was 3 times as long as Sha'Carri Richardson. Now, to make a long story short, based upon the circumstances here, she's admitted, she didn't say, they lied. She accepted responsibility and she entered into a counselor program. Based upon the circumstances in this specific case, I think they should do the humane thing and let her compete in the 100 meters based upon the circumstances, and she entered into a counselor program also.
But here's the deal. You say do the humane thing, okay? But there are other athletes.
Sure.
And so again, look, I'm from Texas.
Right.
I would love to see the homegirl from Texas run.
Right.
And we all want to have empathy. We want to have compassion, Brittany. But look, there's another sister I'm going to pull up in a second. Another sister who had gotten suspended. She had gotten suspended, and what happened was she was a hurdler, and her name was Brianna McNeil. She got a 5-year ban because she missed her drug test. Now, she says she had an abortion. And she said she missed the drug test 2 days after her abortion. What happens with their rules, Brittany, is that your drug testing, you don't know when you're going to get drug tested. And so they call you and it's like, we're on our way. If you don't answer the phone, if you don't indicate where you are, then there's a problem. And this happened actually more than once. Now, she did qualify for the Olympic team. She came in second at the trials. It was 100-meter hurdles. And so what happened was, so she talked about it in terms of what happened. She said why she missed it. And it's called an at-home appointment. An at-home appointment. So this according to this story, McNeil said that the anti-doping ban derived from her missing an at-home appointment with officials in January 2020. She said she was at home recovering from an abortion that she had 2 days prior to the appointment, and that when officials arrived at her home, she didn't hear anyone. And then according to this story, she was banned because there were many inaccuracies found in documents that were meant to prove she had an abortion. She called it that it was a miscommunication. But Brittany, there are other athletes who missed their at-home appointment for drug testing, and they've been suspended. And so they make it clear to everybody, these are the rules. You're going to get drug tested a lot. So what do we do? Whether it's Sha'Carri, whether it's this sister who said, well, I missed my at home, I had an abortion, I was at home, but I didn't hear them knocking.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's tough, Roland, because on one hand, sure, I want to say the rules are the rules. You knew what they were in advance. Stick to them, right? But I want to point out that rules are made by people, right? And we need to think about the reason behind those rules, and if those rules always make sense, and if those rules are actually fair. You know, at one point, I believe it was 2011, both CBD and THC were banned, and I believe that change was made more recently, where now it's just THC that's banned, the substance that was in Sha'Carri's blood. So, you know, I think it's tough. And again, I mean, based on the research that I did find, and someone correct me if they saw something else, you know, they have not definitively said that marijuana, you know, is a performance enhancing drug. And if it is
no. It's not that it's a performance enhancing drug. It is on the list of banned substances. Right. From the anti-doping agency.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not.
But Roland, answer me this question because I hear you. But knowing that, so tell me why it's banned. Why is it banned?
It's their rules. It's their rules.
But that's what I'm saying. Right?
Here's the deal. Every track and field athlete has to abide by it. It's a bunch of black people who made the Olympic team who didn't smoke weed. And if they do smoke weed, they didn't smoke it before the Olympic trials and they didn't test positive.
I hear you, but what I'm saying is I think that we're seeing a reevaluation, not only in the United States. I mean, we just saw Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas talk about how he is talking about how we need to reevaluate in the United States on a federal level. We're seeing changes globally, and I hope that
I agree.
And I hope that the Olympics, I mean, if nothing else, you know, whether Sha'Carri runs or not, I think obviously she's not going to, at least for her own 100. But I do think that this is high time for us to reevaluate why that is a rule. Why is that a rule? I get it. It's a rule. It's a rule across the board, but it's time for us to reevaluate.
See, Faraji, the thing for me that really jumps out here is, Benjamin Dixon, I'm going to pull up Benjamin's tweet, and I think Benjamin is like wrong as hell on this one. Benjamin's on the show. I like Benjamin. This is the tweet that Benjamin sent out right here. He said, black athletes should just boycott Team America since Team America has such an issue with black athletes. No, I'm sorry, Ben. A whole bunch of black athletes made the team who didn't smoke weed, who didn't test positive, who didn't miss their appointments. I'm sorry. I don't see this as an attack on black athletes because one star messed up. I just don't.
But Roland, I agree with you 100%. But let's look at what Brittany you pointed out. Rules are made by people. That's everything. I mean, we live in a society where rules are made by people. I mean, I own a company. I make rules. Your ass gotta show up at work at 11 a.m. If you walk your ass in here consistently at 1 o'clock, your ass ain't gonna have a job with me. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. The rules are made. Now, here's the other thing. THC, we know it's on the list, but it's more importantly, it's also a drug. No, it doesn't enhance. It doesn't make you jump faster and all of those things. It slows you down. As an athlete, your speed is everything. Whether you're talking about football, baseball, basketball, track and field, soccer, your speed, your awareness is everything. I mean, there is a reason for this. Now, I think that the larger conversation about all of this, we have to ask this question. Is this the example? If we're talking about push for Sha'Carri, what is the example that we want to set for black girls in track and field? What is the example? What do you say to a black girl, to a young black girl? Sha'Carri is 21 years old. She is, as Roland laid out, from high school to college and the whole nine. She has been in this whole field. She's 21 years old. She still has a lot of maturity and a lot of growing to do. But for those who are looking at her and the black girls that see themselves in Sha'Carri Richardson, what should we say? See, we talking about the now. We have to look at the future because we should not be in a space to advocate for Sha'Carri now, because then that opens the door for us to advocate for what? The next black girl later? No, these are black athletes. If you're an athlete, you take care of your body. They often say your body is your temple. And if that's the message that we want to get across to young black girls and black boys in any field of sport, then we should look at this and then use this as a teachable moment to help them to see that if you break the rules, if you decide not to do what's required of you to do, you're going to suffer the consequences.
I just think here, Michael, and we're going to talk about another story,
sure,
that has an impact that deals with black people in the Olympics, which I think the Olympics, they are dead wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what, again, that I would say this to, again, my staff. I would say it to my frat brothers. I would say it to my church members. I would say this to my nieces and nephews. I would say this to other family members. I hear you. I do believe that we have this different system. I think it's crazy that right now you got marijuana, that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, mm-hmm. that's legalized in some states, but not others.
Right.
I believe that you have these differing approaches to it. You've got some prosecutors who say they're not going to prosecute minor marijuana arrest. There are people who say you shouldn't be drug testing or causing people to lose jobs or not get jobs because of marijuana. But here's what I know and understand. It ain't the law right now. I think that you can fight to change it.
Right.
I think that you can fight to change with the Olympics. Football players fought for the NFL to alter their rules when it came to marijuana, and they did. The NBA players, they fought to change the rules, to alter it, and they did. And so it's a different approach there. But what we're dealing with here is that all track and field athletes across the world, and I think this is the most important thing that our people watching, and I've been seeing every kind of comment.
Right.
Athletes across the world are giving the same list. Mm-hmm. Now, we know they're cheaters. We know the Olympics banned the Russian team because all of them were doping. We know back in the 80s and 90s, the Eastern Russian, hell, we ain't going to talk about how they were doping. We could go on and on and on. And we also know the number of American athletes who have been busted for doping and performance-enhancing drugs. This boils down to here. How you cope with grief is something that we have to deal with. But you are preparing for 4 years for this moment. The Olympics is every 4 years. You made the team. You performed well. But part of performing is also the drug test. They all go together. Right. You can't say, well, hey, she could have won the gold. We all let her run. Because every other athlete who went to the U.S. Olympic trial had to pee in that cup. Every single one.
Come on.
Right. Yeah. I think this whole thing is a little complicated. I went and read the rules. And there is an appeals process. Here, one, she accepted responsibility. It's not like she's saying, oh, they're lying on me, they're setting me up. She's accepting responsibility. She told what happened. Two, she entered into a counseling program as well. In the appeals process, based upon the circumstances, her mother died, her biological mother died, and she's dealing with a lot. Now, if it had been a situation where she had tested positive for marijuana previously before other races, and everything I read, this is the first time she's tested positive, well, then I would say no. But in the appeals process, I really hope they take all this into account and let her compete based upon these circumstances. But I do understand the rules. And I also understand, they have an appeals process for a reason as well. But this one here, I think is everything involved, all the details taken into account, I think is different than maybe some other instances that we may see of doping or people purposely in performance enhancing drugs, the Russians, things like that.
Okay, so now let's talk about what I do believe is an anti-black story that we need to be dealing with right here.
Right.
So check this out. Swimming caps, where'd it go? Where's the story? Swimming caps for natural black hair ruled out of Olympic Games. International Swimming Federation rejects the use of soul cap, saying it does not fit the natural form of the head. That right there, Faraji, meaning if your ass was a swimmer, you, Faraji, could not put on a soul cap with that look you got right now. Folks, Soul Cap, I'm gonna show you right now. So Soul Cap, they are a company out of the UK. This is what it looks like. They're a company out. Let's go full screen, please. They're a company out of the UK, and they make swimwear and caps for all hair types. I'm just going to show you. And so this is the tweet that they sent out. They say, with the power of people, changing the water is possible for the first time in history. The incredible Alex Deering will represent Team GB, that's Great Britain. But they here say, thank you to all the swimmers who have given their thoughts and experiences when it comes to the barriers to swimming. It's time for a change. Hashtag swim for all. And then here's another tweet, June 30th. A huge thanks to all who have supported us in our work so far. We don't see this as a setback, but a chance to open up a dialogue to make a bigger difference in aquatics. Michael and Tox. Faraji, now this is bullshit. This right here, because these black, first of all, everybody watching now realize, black folks, we swimming.
Right.
So what's happened is, this has always been a white sport. We ran the video, I think, last week of Cullen Jones, who won medals for the United States. You're now seeing more black swimmers. Well, black folks who wear their hair like yours, Faraji, they ain't wearing them no more swim caps. Now this is nonsense.
Absolutely. Here's what I want to bring our attention to, because the sister Danielle Obi, who serves as the founding member of the Black Swimming Association, she made a very, very important point. It has generally been that Speedo has been the producer of these swimming caps. She made the point saying, Speedo caps don't fit our head. And I can't make this up, and I love the quote. She says, black hair grows up and defies gravity. I want everybody to think about this. It grows up and defies gravity. So that means that thing is coming out. It's just going all types of ways, right? So with that, I think, and I'm with you on this, Brother Roland, like at the end of the day, and we're starting to see in this particular Olympics, there seems to be more, some might say microaggressions. There seems to be more slight on black culture, black expression. We're talking about soul caps right now. We got to talk about the situation where a couple of months ago, Black Lives Matter apparel was banned at the Summer Olympics. We got to talk about Gwendolyn Berry and how they played the Star Spangled Banner and how that situation turned out. I mean, we're seeing that there is, and I get what the Olympics is trying to do through the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, saying that, look, we're trying to preserve the spirit of the sport in the case of oneness and not make people distinct. But guess what? That's not reality. Black swimmers, the hair, the way the body is shaped is different for each person. And that is insane to try to put everybody in this cap, but claim, that this thing is going to be inclusive when in reality, it's exclusive. It does not allow athletes to be themselves. It does not allow this platform to allow athletes to express themselves. So this is complete BS.
So here's what's going on here, Michael. And let's just be clear. There has been, whiteness has defined the world.
Right.
Whiteness.
Mm-hmm.
You've had sports like swimming that have been defined by whiteness.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you had white folks with their hair, and let's be real clear, you've had some other swimmers. You had some folks from Italy. Yeah, Hannibal went over there, and him and them 20,000 Africans did a whole lot of damage over there. You got some other folks, but the reality is, because you're now seeing more black people also reject European hair standards, saying, no, hell no, I want to wear my hair natural. They are going to have to accommodate that. And I'm telling you right now, this to me is this is where a lawsuit should be filed. This is why the Crown Act is being passed in America. It outlaws hair discrimination. This ruling here is hair discrimination.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. You mentioned Hannibal Barker. I think you referring to the Battle of Cannae 216 BC, but that's
I'm referring to them 20,000 Africans who went over there in Italy and caused some damage. That's why you got a whole bunch of Italians got sickle cell because they're black.
Well, yeah, the Moors were in Italy also. The Moors were in Italy. But when you look at this, man, it's something very interesting that they said here, the FINA. They said that the soul cap does not follow the natural form of the head. What do you call the natural form?
No, white people's heads.
No,
That's my point.
Yeah,
First of all, go ahead and say it. See, this is the problem. They don't need to say it, Michael. They should say it doesn't. They should say it doesn't follow white people's head.
But see, they need to highlight this. Wait a second. What do you mean it does not follow the natural form of the head? What are you calling natural? Okay,
white
people are minority in the world.
White?
This is the Olympics. People come from all over the world to compete. White people are the minority in the world. So what do you call it the natural form of the head? They need to be lit up on this. And this is designed to, I think, discriminate against African Americans because we see they're kicking butt in tennis. We see they're kicking butt in tennis, right? We know that once we come into certain sports, we start taking over. We know black men used to dominate horse racing, and there was a concerted effort to force us out. We were winning the Kentucky Derbies. We were winning
the we got black people in the hammer throw, the shot put. You got black folks in the high jump, the javelin. You got black man. Look. First of all, is one white boy on Team USA basketball team, Kevin Love, and he don't need to be on. That should be an all black team. Now, what they really saying is, damn, now y'all ass is swimming. Now y'all swimming.
Right. So
we used to be afraid of the water.
Right.
We used to be afraid of the water. Now we all in it.
Well, we were swimming before you had as long as it was white boys and African American boys swimming, we were swimming. It was all right. When it started becoming co-ed and interracial, now you start having a problem. When you go research the history of that, then you start having a problem. When it was white girls swimming with black boys, now you got a problem on your hands. But brother, this should be highlighted, man. This is discrimination right here. They're really trying to, I think, target us and keep us from winning these golds and swimming also.
This right here, Brittany, there should be a race discrimination lawsuit filed against the Swimming Federation for this ruling. And see, all these black civil rights groups, y'all should be calling out all these Olympic sponsors.
Come on.
Yeah.
See, NBC is giving the IOC billions of dollars. We should be saying, sponsors, speak up. All these major corporations giving the Olympic Committee money. We see, this is how you take your power and you leverage it by saying, don't be silent, corporations. This right here is hair discrimination, Brittany.
Yep. No, I completely agree with everything that people have said. And I think someone mentioned it earlier. Anti-blackness is a global phenomenon. It just isn't in the United States. It's everywhere. And we know that this decision is part of just a longer history of discriminations against black people, but specifically black hair. And I know you mentioned earlier, Roland, the Crown Act. And we know just 8 years ago, the number one complaint filed by black women in the United States with the EEOC was discrimination based on hair. So, I'm not surprised that this is something that's going on at the Olympics. And I can probably guarantee you that the bulk, if not all the people that made the decision are certainly not us, because we know the idea that, the caps don't need a certain size and configuration. Elite athletes don't need caps of this size and configuration. It's some complete racist, discriminatory BS.
All right, folks, I got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to former Kentucky State Senator Charles Booker. He announced he is running against Rand Paul, and already Senator Rand Paul has sent out a racist email. I'm going to show it to you. And this literally, it went out. Charles sent the tweet out 34 minutes ago. The email went out at 1:19 p.m. Charles is going to give his first response to us right here live on Roland Martin Unfiltered. That's next.
I believe that people our age have lost the ability to focus the discipline on the art of organizing.
The challenges, there's so many of them and they're complex, and we need to be moving to address them. But I'm able to say, watch out, Tiffany. I know this road.
That is so freaking dope.
Hello, I'm Nina Turner. My grandmother used to say, all you need in life are 3 bones. The wishbone to keep you dreaming, the jawbone to help you speak truth to power, and the backbone to keep you standing through it all. I'm running for Congress because you deserve a leader who will stand up fearlessly on your behalf. Together, we will deliver Medicare for all, good jobs that pay a living wage, and bold justice reform. I'm Nina Turner, and I approve this message.
George Floyd's death hopefully put another nail in the coffin of racism.
You talk about awakening America, it led to a historic summer of protest.
I hope our younger generation don't ever forget that nonviolence is soul force.
Priceless.
What's up? This is Aldous Hodge, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Sherry Shepherd, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hey Roland.
That's Tim Story, director of Shaft. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. What up, y'all? This is Method Man, Mighty Wu-Tang Clan. You watching Uncle Roland Martin, and the show is Unfiltered. Make sure y'all tune in. Laura Ingram, you suck.
Have a good time.
Y'all better ask somebody. Ain't nobody got that kind of footage except Uncle Roro. Slick Rick on stage at the Coca-Cola booth on their main stage at Essence Festival. Yeah, that's how we roll, y'all. This is a live look right now of the Essence Festival, a Live Loud virtual experience happening. You can go to Essence Festival. You go to essence.com, essencestudios.com. Actually check it out. But y'all don't do that until y'all finish watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. So y'all can watch the replay. But again, this is a live look right here of the virtual Essence Festival happening right now. We got so all weekend we're going to be showing you old concert clips, throwback footage, you name it. We're going to be showing you. This is happening all weekend, and so the concerts start. The concert starts, and then of course you're going to have all weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Virtual Festival Essence, and we so appreciate Coca-Cola partnering with us to be able to bring you these Essence Festival throwbacks. All right, y'all. Today, Charles Booker dropped the news that he is running against Rand Paul. Remember, he ran for the Democratic nomination to face Mitch McConnell in 2020. Amy McGrath, she won. She got destroyed in the general election. Booker came within 30,000 votes of winning that primary. Now he's taking on Senator Rand Paul. This is the campaign video that Charles dropped.
Freedom. It's been the story of America, or so they say. Because we know the truth. For so many people across Kentucky and across the country, freedom hasn't been freedom for us. I come from a long line of Kentuckians. I've had ancestors who were enslaved in this Commonwealth, lynched in this Commonwealth, fought for desegregation in this Commonwealth, because we knew freedom wasn't something that was gonna just be given to us. We had to struggle for it. What we have are these politicians who have been free to exploit us. Freedom to rob us. Freedom to tell us that we don't deserve better. And all we can ever afford to have are politicians who don't care whether we live or die. That's not freedom. The people of Kentucky are my family. One thing I was taught early on is that you fight for family. We can make freedom ring true.
Absolutely.
We can make it ring for everyone.
Yes, sir.
We can build a future where Brianna's door isn't kicked in. We can make freedom mean that every community across Kentucky is thriving. With a good paying union job. That we're not just working to struggle less, but that we're owning. We're creating. We're building pathways to wealth all over Kentucky. We're going to take this message from the hood to the highway. And so as we go into this day where we celebrate our independence, let's commit to making it mean something. And I'm not just asking that of you. I'm going to lead by example. And it's with that understanding that we have to lead ourselves that I'm going to run for United States Senate. Woo! We're going to make it ring because Kentucky deserves it. I believe we're ready for this moment. If you're ready to prove the doubters wrong, let me hear you say yeah. I believe we're ready to heal and grow and thrive and make sure the opportunity rings true for everybody in this Commonwealth. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me?
Well, Charles Booker is with us right now. I'm glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered, Charles.
It's good to be with you again, brother. Thank you for having me.
All right. Your opponent has already started his racial BS. Folks, watch this. This email. Charles posted this on his Twitter feed about 40 minutes ago. This is what Rand Paul sent out today. And it said, "Dear so-and-so, yesterday I got an Act Blue-backed racial left opponent for my re-election." A racial left opponent. So, Charles, would he have said, "I have a white candidate"?
Well, Roland, I think you and I both know very well what he was trying to say there. I think he has something that he's feeling. He can't get past the color of my skin, and he knows that we're coming to take his seat. And so he's relying on racism, as they always do. And the people of Kentucky see through it, and so do I, and we're calling it out.
See, and look, here's the deal. This is not me. This was an actual campaign email. It says from Rand at randpaul.com, dated today, 1:19 p.m. And y'all blacked out the name, so that means it was sent to someone. So clearly, your campaign staff is on the email list. So this literally went out from the Rand Paul campaign. So you are a racial left opponent. That's Rand Paul's way of saying, white folks in Kentucky, I got a Negro running against me.
That's exactly right. And you know, the sad part about it is that's all we're hearing from Rand Paul. Every time he talks about me, he's talking about defund the police and reparations. Now, Roland, you got to ask yourself, why is he talking about defunding the police when he's not talking about investing in community safety? He's trying to distract from the fact that he's failed Kentuckians. He doesn't care whether we live or die. All he wants to do is chase conspiracy theories because he's a clown. And we're standing now, and I lost this Senate race because I believe in the people of Kentucky. Now, I come from the West end of Louisville, one of the most segregated cities in the country. The issues I've seen growing up as a young Black man are not limited to my community. We have common bonds across Kentucky. And if we stand together, we can win together. And we're ready to stand right now and show that we're going to get him out of office.
You ran against Amy McGrath for the Democratic nomination to face Senator Mitch McConnell. She raised a ton of money. She was the Democratic darling. They said, oh, she was center right. She talked in the campaign about how she can work with Republicans. You lost to her by 30,000 votes, and she got her ass whooped in the general election. What did you learn in that campaign? How are you going to craft a strategy if you get the Democratic nomination? How are you going to beat Rand Paul in the general election?
Well, I will win the Democratic nomination, and we will beat Rand Paul. In fact, we're going to blow him out. The thing that was affirmed for me in the last cycle is what I always knew to be true. You cannot ignore the people. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't have a vision, if you can't inspire people to believe things can be different. There's a lot of cynicism that's very real in our politics because all we've had are these corrupt politicians who are playing and laughing to the bank while we suffer with poverty or ration our insulin. And there's a reason that people have given up in a lot of respects. And I'm trying to lead by example to say that if we lean into organizing, if we lift up our common bonds, if we actually listen to folks in urban and rural areas alike, Black, white, and brown, if you listen to folks, you'll hear that they want a vision where everyone has health care, where people have clean water and clean air and good paying union jobs. You'll hear that. We don't listen to the people. And so I'm building this campaign focused on Kentuckians first, and we're leveraging the resources that it'll take to do the organizing to win. And I'm proud of that. Look, in the first 24 hours, we have received contributions from nearly all 120 counties. We've raised over $1 million towards this primary, and we're seeing the majority of our support coming from Kentucky. And it's not partisan because these issues aren't partisan. And I'm excited. We're going to make history.
Now, I said this on yesterday's show. I was talking with Matthew Dowd. We were talking about what Democrats should be doing. And I've had this conversation with Reverend Dr. William J. Barber with the Poor People's Campaign, how they have been mobilizing, organizing, and how they have been very clear speaking to white people and saying white and saying poor white people and not using euphemisms, the working class and things along those lines. And so how are you going to go to those broke white folks in Kentucky? And we're talking about some broke people. These are the people who elected a Republican governor, but they were yelling, man, I don't want to lose my Affordable Care Act, but I hate the Obamacare. These are the people who were yelling Trump, 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 but then they were getting cut. Then you had coal miners who Mitch McConnell would not meet with. He was completely ignoring them. And so, are you going to be that in your face by going to white folks in Kentucky by saying, hey, folks, I know I'm Black, y'all white, but guess what? In your county, y'all some of the sickest people in the state. These people are trying to stop Medicare expansion. These laws are being passed for you. How are you going to get them to break from pulling that Republican lever and voting against their own interests to support you?
Roland, you actually just laid it out. You know, one thing that's true in
all right, I'll come to Kentucky and talk to the white folks for you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You just laid the strategy out. Look, in Kentucky, in our politics, we have and they expect us to vote Democrats, so they don't come to us either until it's time for us to vote. When you go actually sit down with folks, and I'm telling you, I went to areas where they were all Trump supporters, 90+% white, and I would tell them my story, then I'd listen to them. And it would never fail, never fail. We'd see how much we have in common. But it goes to your point, we got to tell the truth. When you go talk to those miners in Eastern Kentucky, they know those jobs are gone. They know they're not coming back. When you talk to those small farmers that are suffering with poverty too, they know they need health care. They know they need more money in their pocket. We need to talk about the real issues and not be afraid to tell the truth. And this email that Rand Paul sent out today saying that I'm a racial left candidate, we know what he's saying. Look, Republicans will weaponize hate and racism. And in a lot of ways, Democrats have tried to run away from it. We have to go to it and call it out and disarm it with love and unity and the power of coming together. This is not new. And if we lead now, we will win now. And we absolutely will do that.
Got questions from my panel. Brittany, you're first for Charles Booker.
Congratulations. I pray that you get elected. But with that being said, what would you say is your number one priority going forward? I know that you're, you have type 1 diabetes. So can we expect you to take on big pharma? What's the main issue that's motivating you?
Absolutely. You know, my overarching platform is ending poverty, which truthfully means we have to pull up the roots of racism. And so that's why I lift up Medicare for all. That's why I lift up universal basic income. I've said we not only need a Green New Deal in Kentucky, we need a Kentucky New Deal. We need to own it. And I also lift up reparations because we have to get to the core of why inequity is structural. And so that's what you'll see out of me in the United States Senate. The Senate is blocking all of our progress as a country right now. It's clear. And we need leaders that are going to fight for us because they see us. Rand Paul's an eye doctor, at least he calls himself that, but he cannot see the people of Kentucky. And we're going to change that.
Faraji Muhammad, your question for Charles Booker. Faraji, you on mute.
There we go. Mr. Booker, real quick question. How do you plan to engage the next generation? And really, there is, you talked about the level of cynicism that exists right now just across the board in politics. I mean, I don't envy you in wanting to run for public office. I mean, I admire the spirit, but there is a lot of cynicism, especially like in the state of Kentucky with Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell and everything. So how do you really plan to engage Black folks in a way to keep their hope, to keep our hope alive in this process? Because I feel like there are, and based upon some of the recent data, Black people are walking away from political parties in general. So this is a very, very critical time to get folks to believe in this system. How do you plan to make that happen?
A lot of my plan and my vision for this race really comes from growing up in the hood. And there is so much power in us talking to one another, in us connecting with one another, and us building our capacity. And so while I'm running myself, I want to use my resources in this campaign to train more folks to not only be on campaigns, but to run for office themselves. I've talked to some of my own family who hadn't voted in a long time. And they told me, well, I would vote, but what difference does it make? Part of what I'm trying to do now is lead by example, to say that we have so much power that we are not seizing, especially in the United States Senate, because we have these folks that are disconnected from us making every decision about our lives, but we're not in the room. And when I was elected in 2018 to the State House, I became the youngest Black state legislator in Kentucky since the first one. I'm talking to a lot of folks in my community that have never seen someone like me stand up on the biggest stages and talk to folks like you all and speak the truth. That's contagious. And we're building a campaign that is rooted in relational organizing. We're building capacity for folks so that they can lead themselves, become citizen lobbyists. We do this work, we will do so much more than win one race. We're going to transform our future.
One of the things that we talk about the issues you mentioned, in those rural parts of Kentucky, obviously, healthcare is going to be a big issue. You are running against someone who is a doctor who claims that he is such an expert on these things. But one of the things that we talk about Medicare expansion, we talk about, these health issues, we keep seeing it in these red states, how they keep fighting it. And I'm sitting there going to these broke white people. I'm like, what are you doing? You are sick. These things help you. Reverend Barber told a story when they were years ago, when they were campaigning against for the issue, when they were campaigning against the closing of rural hospitals. They were at some parade, and he said some redneck walked up to him with a Confederate flag draped around his neck, tears in his eyes, saying, "Thank you for fighting for our hospitals." I just think that this is just one of those moments where we've got to put it all on the table, and I use this phrase all the time. Hey, black folks, a lot of black folks broke, a lot of white folks broke. When you broke, you broke. As Dr. Barber say, he said, when your lights get cut off, we all black.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And one of the things that I believe is really important in this message I lift up from the hood to the holler, talking about our common bonds is speaking that truth and really helping folks to understand what's happening. Now, in addition to, if you look at every metric that would determine a good quality of life, Kentucky's at the bottom and damn near all of them. Kentucky has also been one of the most disenfranchised states. And so you're dealing with a whole population of folks that have been robbed of the ability to know what's happening and to know how to change it. And when we show up and speak that truth, I'm telling you, it doesn't take long for folks to realize, oh, I'm rationing my insulin and I don't have to do that because these big pharmaceutical companies are making money hand over fist while I die. Oh, okay, I'm working sun up to sundown and I'm not getting paid good money while these coal companies are laughing to the bank, filing bankruptcy, leaving us high and dry. We have to speak that truth. And I'm training folks across Kentucky to talk to their neighbors, to their friends, not along partisan lines, not dealing with the national buzzwords. I don't need you to call it a Green New Deal. Talk about what it means to take a shower and the water's irritating your skin because it's dirty. Talk about what your lived experiences are, and we can get to a common ground of building together. We're trying to rebuild community, and I'm proud to help tell that story in Kentucky because we're going to shock the world.
Well, I can't wait to next year. We're going to be on the road covering these elections, and I can't wait to come to. So I'll go ahead and do this here. I'll put online. I'll be happy to come to Kentucky do a town hall, and we'll live stream it. Look, I ain't afraid of nobody. Broke people, white, black. I ain't afraid of nobody.
That's right.
So, and the difference is I own my show. So I ain't got to ask nobody's opinion. We ain't got to go get permission to do this. So we'll be happy to come to Kentucky, live stream a town hall, moderate that thing, a conversation with voters with Charles Booker.
Well, I'll be there, and I need everybody to go to charlesbooker.org to support me right now, so we can make sure that I'm there with you.
All right, then, Charles Booker, thank you so very much, folks. Running for the United States Senate in 2022. Against longtime Senator Rand Paul. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, let's go to our next story where Attorney General Merrick Garland has announced a federal moratorium on executions. Remember, we had executions for a very long time, but those thugs in the previous administration, they were rushing to kill people. Now, Merrick Garland said, we're going to slow that down. Here's a quote that this is what he said. He said, the continued use of the death penalty raises serious concerns, including the arbitrariness in its application, disparate impact on people of color, and the troubling number of exonerations in capital and other serious punishments. He is prohibiting the scheduling of federal executions until the Justice Department reviews its policies and procedures related to capital cases. Among those being halted includes his order the allowance of prisoners to use a powerful sedative to execute people on federal death row, which was approved by Attorney General William Barr. So for all these people, Michael, who keep saying elections don't matter, this is the difference between Trump being in charge and Biden being in charge.
Huge difference, Roland, and all you have to do is look at what the Supreme Court ruled dealing with the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Look at the ruling from yesterday. All you have to do is look at almost 400 bills that Republicans are pushing in 48 state legislatures. If your vote didn't matter, why are they working to suppress your vote so hard? Okay, so yeah, this is critical. And if we go back to Jeff Sessions, when Jeff Sessions was Trump's first attorney general, there was a commission that President Obama put together under the Obama administration. The Department of Justice put together this commission to it was designed to make sure people were not convicted based upon junk science. It consisted of scientists, law enforcement, different things like this, because they were looking at the fact that the death penalty was used disproportionately against African Americans. Well, when Jeff Sessions became attorney general, he disbanded that commission. And then we look at the last maybe month or two of the Trump era, ERROR. We look at that. We saw him starting up the federal executions again, and disproportionately, these were African Americans being executed. So this is an example of how elections have consequences. I'm glad Merrick Garland is doing this.
Absolutely, Brittany. And this is again, this is a major issue. And I just keep telling people, y'all can sit your asses at home and not vote, but you'll get Trump. Look, there were several people who were executed, and they were rushing to killing people.
Yes,
and they were like, oh, we scheduling. They were trying to schedule executions up until his last days, and most of the people were black.
Absolutely. We know innocent people are too often sentenced to death. I saw a statistic that said since 1973, over 156 people have been released from death row in 26 states because of innocence. And nationally, at least one person is exonerated for every 10 that are executed. And we know disproportionately it's us. The whole concept is applied extremely arbitrarily. A lot of it has to do with how much money you have, the skill of your attorneys, the race of the victim, where the crime took place. And we know, unfortunately, people of color are far more likely to be executed than white folks, especially if the victim is white. And also, tons of studies show that the death penalty doesn't stop or curb crime, let alone murder. So it's about time that we have a change, and I'm definitely glad that he, is taking this step.
Roger?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a big issue, and I would agree that this is the big difference. These are the type of issues where you don't see them, quote unquote, on your ballot. But if you don't put the right people in place, then they're going to happen. The Trump administration, they executed 13 people within a 6-month period. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And so when you're talking about this type of issue, not just from the racial implications, but you're also talking about just the whole idea of capital punishment. We are still, some people would say that this is one of the most barbaric ways or means of punishment of any quote unquote civilized state or in civilized nation. So we're still in a space where this is happening. And so I'm happy that a moratorium has been placed. I'm happy, as A.G. Garland mentioned, that there's going to be some real evaluation. But the other question becomes, and I think, Brother Roland, you talk about this, you're from the state of Texas. Texas has always been number one when it comes to executing people. How much of this moratorium will impact state laws on execution? In Texas, they just executed a man back just a couple of days ago for killing his family back in 2009. So will this moratorium spill over into having conversations about executions across the state lines?
That's a very good point. This only applies to the federal level, and that's what we have. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is.
No charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, bro.
Illegally selling water without a permit
On my property.
Whoa! Hey!
Give us your right.
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
God have mercy. A police chief has resigned because he actually, this really happened. He put a KKK sign on a black police officer's jacket. And so y'all, this is surveillance video. This is in Ohio, Police Chief Anthony Campo You see him, he's putting a KKK sign on the jacket of a black police officer. He stepped down Tuesday after Sheffield Lake Mayor Dennis Breen appeared at his office to address the video. Mayor Breen said when he went to the office, Campo was standing there with a smile on his face and said, "So, am I fired?" Well, the mayor told him he was being replaced on administrative leave and had 10 minutes to leave the office. Campo quit. Well, guess what? That's what's going to happen to your dumb ass, Faraji. If you're going to put a KKK sign on the jacket of, yeah, am I fired? Hell yeah, your punk ass fired.
I was going to, you took the words really out of my mouth. I was like, what a dumbass. He's a police chief, knowing they got cameras everywhere, and you're going to do this. Like, what's the point? Like, did you want to get fired at this point? I don't know. I'm not understanding the rationale behind the action.
Look, Brittany. The mayor should have walked in. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. That's how the mayor should have walked in.
He already knew, though. He walked in and said, "So am I fired?" Like he knew what time it was. And I love the mayor's statement regarding the situation because he literally said what all of us were already thinking when we heard the story. How in the hell can somebody be that stupid? Like it's really outrageous, man. And a stupid prank. Real stupid.
It really cracks me up when you see these idiots. I mean, when you see these idiots, and they really are some damn idiots, Michael. I just sit here and just like y'all really just are that dumb. In fact, you know what, Michael? In fact, if I was the police chief, it probably if I was the mayor, it would have went down something like this.
Now listen to me, little bitch. I'm going to ask you some real simple questions and I want some real simple answers. You understand? Let me get this right.
That's how it would have. That's what would happen.
About 11:15.
Yeah, you know, Roland.
Bought the beer.
That's how I would have fired.
Right.
The bottle.
You know.
11:15.
Exactly.
Yeah, at 11:15. 11:15.
Man, let me go to a break.
So
let me go to a break. I'm done.
There's a lot more white people gonna get fired, man. But they need to investigate cases where he got black people convicted. They need to go. Some of those cases, they need to go research them because he could have set some people up. If he's coming up to do that.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. All right, y'all. I agree. Y'all know that's funny. I'm sorry. That's funny as hell. You know you did. All right, y'all. When we come back, we're going to talk to Darrell Bradford, who is the new president of an education reform group, 50K, in our Education Matters segment. Also, we're going to talk to an expert on barbecue and Dick Gregory. The documentary on Dick Gregory airs on Showtime on July 4th. We will talk with the director of that documentary. Y'all, we still got a whole lot to go right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We'll be back in a moment.
White supremacy ain't just about hurting black folk.
Right.
We got to deal with it. It's injustice. It's wrong.
I do feel like in this generation, we've got to do more around being intentional in resolving conflict.
You and I haven't always agreed.
Yeah.
But we agree on the big piece.
Yeah.
Now, conflict is not about destruction.
Conflict's going to happen.
Every time the life of an unarmed black man is cut short by police violence, we're outraged. When it happened here, I said enough is enough. not as a state senator, but as the mother of a black son. I led Ohio's first bipartisan community police task force to stop racial profiling and address police brutality. We established standards for accountability, hiring, and use of force. I'm Nina Turner, and I approve this message to be a voice for change.
Before Till's murder, we saw struggle for civil rights as something grown-ups did.
I feel that the generations before us have offered a lot of instruction. Organizing is really one of the only things that gives me the sanity and makes me feel purposeful.
When Emmett Till was murdered,
yeah,
that's what attracted our attention.
Happening right now, the 2021 Essence Festival of Culture Live Loud virtual experience, EssenceStudios.com, Essence.com, taking place today, Saturday and Sunday. All right, folks, this Sunday is the premiere of a documentary on my man, Dick Gregory, the great Dick Gregory, of course, the comedian, the activist. Folks, it is an unbelievable documentary. I saw it 2 Saturdays ago on the last day of the Tribeca Film Festival in New York. Here is a clip.
When they say this show features living color, you better believe it.
Dick Gregory was one of the greatest political comedians to ever live.
In about 6 more months, they're going to be forced to hire Negro bus drivers in Mississippi, so we're growing steering wheels so they can drive from the back of the bus.
His stage presence was so smooth.
Dick Gregory changed the entire landscape of stand-up comedy.
Football's a fair sport for my people. Only sport in the world a Negro can chase a white man and 40,000 people stand up and cheer.
Damn, he's talking to these white people like that.
He just spoke his truth.
What's overlooked is how unafraid he was.
Are you out to give people a good laugh? Are you out to make a very definite point? I happen to believe that you can't laugh social problems out of existence.
Dick knew how to take a heated issue, bring humor, and move forward. It encouraged people.
I think people get confused and think that he was an activist who decided to be funny. No. His soul was that of a stand-up comic. He just could not do that in a world that was falling down around him.
Now, I ran from Chicago to Washington, D.C. to dramatize that there's a need to feed hungry people.
He ran for Native Americans. He ran for women.
He gave so much of himself to a movement, to a people.
He wanted to be a part of the change, and he always fought for that change.
My goal is to really help change the priorities in this country.
No man has given more, asked less, or been more needed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Gregory.
Documentary is called The One and Only Dick Gregory. Joining us right now is the director, Andre Gaines. Andre, how you doing?
Good to see you. How are you?
Doing great. How did you get involved in this particular project? Did it start with you? Did it start with Dick Gregory and his family? How did this whole thing start?
It really started with me as an idea. I mean, you know, I saw Dick Gregory on the State of the Union back in 2008 when President Obama first ran, and I just was like, I got to do something, you know, to tell this man's story. I mean, he was on this whole panel. You know, you remember it. It's just a panel of every great black.
Yeah, it was Tavis Smiley's state. It was Tavis Smiley's State of Black America and State of Black America report.
Yeah, State
panel.
of the Black Union. Yep, State of the Black Union was on C-SPAN, and he was on there with all of these dignitaries and politicians and just everyone who does not share the mic very well. And he managed to completely bring down the house. And I was like, wow, this guy is extraordinary. I mean, when I grew up in the 80s, I didn't know him as my contemporary comedian. That was Bill Cosby, to be honest. You know, that was maybe Richard Pryor. We'd sneak away and see some of Eddie Murphy's stuff. But Dick Gregory, I knew as the guy who had the Bahamian diet, who had the shakes. So I didn't really know him as a comedian. And so when I got a chance to actually see him do his work as a comedian, it was astounding. I was like, wow, this has got to be a story to somebody to tell. And I really wasn't prepared to tell that story until about 2015, and that's when I first reached out to him. Cold call, like so many of my other relationships in Hollywood have been established just by picking up the phone. And luckily, nobody's hung up the phone in my face yet. So he managed to actually fly out to LA, and we started filming him.
And he was his son Christian told the story at Tribeca. It ain't like he was easy on you.
No. He did answer the phone, and we did have multiple conversations before actually meeting him in person. And then when I sat him down and interviewed him, you know, it was one of the most difficult interviews that I've ever done. I mean, I've been producing documentaries for a long time. This is my directorial debut, but I just know that sometimes subjects can be a bit hard. He was amongst the hardest, probably if not the hardest. He just would not answer any questions. He just was not interested in kind of sort of following the leader. He was the leader. So
but Andre, was he testing you? Did he want to see how tough you were, and do you want to see how serious you were?
I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I just thought he was angry or, you know, upset. I mean, at that time in 2015, that was actually like the first time any of this major news about Cosby had come out. It came out on the day we were filming Dick Gregory. So he was already a bit upset about that. And then just sort of the line of questioning as it relates to his history, you know, he's probably answered this stuff a billion times. So I was like, you know, we got to shift the focus a bit here. And the next day, that's exactly what we did. We just had him directly address the camera, and it made it feel more like a larger audience, and he just sort of turned on. And so I didn't realize that. I mean, I remember going and whining to my parents about it that night, saying, you know, this man just like, you know, hazed me with his voice. And they were like, well, just, you know, he's just testing you. You got to hang in there. And that's what I did. And thank God I did. Now we have a movie about him.
A lot of folks, though, did not understand the relationship between Dick Gregory and Bill Cosby. I know that on the day Dick Gregory died, Bill Cosby called that morning. And in fact, Bill was cracking jokes and Dick was laughing. And in fact, his family actually thought Dick was getting better. But really, it was after that phone call. It was one of the last phone calls Dick Gregory had. So Cosby talked on that day he died. I remember I was in Atlanta because I was getting the Hank Aaron Award, and I was actually at the baseball game when I got the news of his passing. And so a lot of people really don't understand how close the two of them were. And of course, Bill Cosby and his wife Camille were there at Dick Gregory's funeral in Maryland.
Yeah, they were right there in the front seat. I was at that funeral. I think you and I had met originally there when you were recording your show. And they were right there in the front seat. And yes, he was one of the last people to call him. It was Bill Cosby, it was Minister Farrakhan, who called Dick Gregory, kind of eulogized him while he was still alive on his deathbed. And I remember flying into DC only a couple of days after Dick Gregory passed away, because I had a personal relationship with him. It wasn't just, like some subject. I mean, I started filming him in 2015. It sort of sat on a shelf for a couple of years, right up until the time that he died. And we were starting to start the project back up a couple of months prior to his death. But we got really close over that period of time, and I got close with the family especially. And I remember his son Christian picking me up from the airport, driving me around. And, we just cried like babies. We listened to that eulogy from Bill Cosby. We listened to it from Minister Farrakhan. And it was powerful. And I think that when people get a chance to see this movie, they'll have a better understanding of how Dick Gregory's sacrifice of quitting, of going to marches in Birmingham and Greenwood, Mississippi, and actually abandoning the gigs that he was supposed to be doing. Those club owners and managers and those types of folks literally filled those spots with Bill Cosby and filled it with Richard Pryor. And so he literally opened up the door for Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor, and subsequently kind of every major Black comedian after that. So that's really the story behind that, and they were close ever since.
When we talk about people giving it all for the sake of the community, this documentary really details that. And it's a whole lot y'all couldn't get into. Y'all didn't even get into him running for president. And it was just a lot of stuff that you just could not cover. I mean, frankly, to be perfectly honest, Dick Gregory's life was so stunning and amazing. It's probably worth a docu-series because of just the amount of stuff that he did and was involved with. But financially, I mean, he really said, Black folk will take care of me if I keep representing Black folks.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I don't think people really understand, even the contemporary comedians that were so heavily influenced by him, like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, who's one of our executive producers, really understand what that means, like that level of sacrifice. I mean, I've talked, with Kevin Hart before about it. It's like, it would be like him leaving his huge career and going and exclusively, working for and joining the Black Lives Matter movement, of which, activists are not rich people. I mean, they're sort of not associated with the same level of wealth that an entertainer or, somebody in Hollywood is. And so for Dick Gregory to do that, I mean, that had a lot of consequences. And one of the interesting things that I said during the Tribeca Q&A is that he's not one of these entertainers. We hear these stories all the time. Entertainers, musicians, especially comedians and musicians. You hear the story all the time that they squandered their money on like booze or drugs or gambling or women or whatever it is. And he didn't fall into any of those categories. I had somebody ask me like, well, why didn't you sort of talk about this or talk about that? I'm like, he wasn't a scandalous person. He was scandal free. He wasn't mistake free. He wasn't, he was a human being. He had his foibles, but they weren't the type of dramatic foibles that you expect in these types of stories. This is somebody who literally said, here, I'm going to give it away instead of paying my kids' college tuition. I'm going to give it away instead of paying my mortgage. That's something that we can aspire to. It still had a lot of consequences, but it's something we can aspire to, really.
I got more questions, but I want my panel opportunity to ask some questions. Brittany Lewis, your questions for Andre.
Yeah, of course. So congratulations, first and foremost. I can't wait to see the documentary.
Thank you.
But I do want to know, Dick Gregory was such an important figure, not only to the Black community, but to the world. Was it difficult trying to capture the entirety of his life? Like, you're talking about a comedian, an activist, how could you do that without making the documentary like several hours, if not a day long?
Well, it was. Yeah, I mean, I managed to get it, kind of just under 2 hours, which was at the request of Showtime. But we did have what, Roland is talking about. We did have the presidential run in there. We had a couple other things. And it just, from a narrative storytelling standpoint, there's some of these things you just unfortunately have to take out. it was very, very difficult. And you know, any filmmaker will tell you every movie breaks your heart just a little bit. And the reason why is because you have to abandon certain things. You have to cut out certain things. It's like the audience has, you know, only so much of an attention span. And in this situation, I mean, I produced series as well. I did another series earlier this year called The Lady in the Dale that was on HBO. That was a 4-part series. But the goal here was really to make one good film, one great film that could live on in the annals and the lexicon of film history. And that was ultimately the goal. And so at the end of the day, you just gotta suck it up, wipe away a couple of tears, and say, yeah, we're gonna take out a few things.
Faraji.
Andre, first and foremost, I'm really excited about seeing this film. I had the opportunity to work with Miss Kathy Hughes, and she often talked about Dick Gregory and their relationship when they were on air back in DC, back in the day. So this is going to be really, really cool. And I had the opportunity to meet him when we did the Justice or Else movement. And he was working with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, so he was at some of those larger meetings, and all I can say, Andre, is I understand that he tested you because he tested us, and we were just saying hi. Yeah, we just want to take a picture. But I do wanted to know, is there anything about his life and legacy that surprised you? That you might believe may surprise us as the viewers of this documentary?
Yeah, I think it frankly surprised a lot of people. I mean, you know, Kathy Hughes is a dear friend. She was a huge supporter of this project from the very beginning, and so many others. I mean, you know, yourself too, Roland and Joe Madison. I mean, you kind of go down the whole list, and folks that were with him. You know, I bring these names up specifically because the folks that were with him, even that worked closely with him, colleagues, agents, managers, you know, business partners, friends, even they looked at the film and other iterations of the film, because we sort of showed it along the way to a couple of different folks here and there as it came together. And they were like, wow, I didn't know all of this stuff. I didn't know that these things happened. And even Dick Gregory himself, when we were making some progress of the film, you know, would look at it and say to his son, like, did I do that? You know, do I remember? I don't totally remember doing this, that, or the other thing. And so there was a lot of parts and pieces like that people were able to take away and that they didn't realize were part of his life. For me, you know, when you condense it like this and you put it into a film, it's kind of like, what are we doing? You know, like somebody like him is just the amount of productivity that he was able to yield in a single life. I mean, we're talking about a comedian, we're talking about a activist, we're talking about a health pioneer, a genius, icon, legend. I mean, these are an extraordinary set of circumstances for one life to have. I mean, we'd be lucky if we were able to live any one of those things. And so I think that that's a huge, huge takeaway from the film. And hopefully, you know, people experience that when they see it.
Michael Imhotep.
Hey, Andre, thanks for participating in this documentary. Congratulations on it.
Thank you.
Question for you. I had a chance of meeting Dick Gregory here in Detroit some years ago, and also interviewed him when I was guest hosting the Warren Ballantyne show one time. But Dick Gregory marched with Dr. King. He was friends with Dr. King, but he also knew Malcolm X as well. And toward the end of both of their lives, Dr. King and Malcolm X, we know their ideologies were converging. James H. Cone details this in Martin, Malcolm in America, Dream or Nightmare. Because Dick Gregory was involved in the civil rights movement and knew both of these men, how did Dick Gregory see, or how did he conceive, or what did he see as the ultimate goal of the modern day civil rights movement?
He was this kind of connective tissue in a way to a singular philosophy of human rights. And he would talk about this all the time. I mean, he was friends really with everybody, especially in the movement, you know, Dr. King, Malcolm X. I mean, we got tons of pictures of him and Malcolm X that we just couldn't find the proper place to, you know, to fit into the story, because we sort of had this thread of him and Dr. King. Then we have this awesome photo in the film that we were able to get our hands on through the National Archives of Dr. King just cracking up, laughing at Dick Gregory while he's standing up at the podium. And it's like, you know that he's killing as a comedian because you got this picture of Dr. King, which we rarely ever see him so relaxed, sitting there just cracking up. And so that's what he saw as the ultimate goal. It was really human rights. It was an important part of the equation when it came to seeing civil rights and the modern civil rights movement of the time actually succeed. And had he not done that, I think that Dick Gregory would have felt there was a large piece of him that was missing. I mean, any time that there was something to fight for, he was there. I mean, there's this a fabulous story of him and the women's rights movement, the National Organization of Women now, and him showing up to speak there. They asked him to speak. He's flying across the country. He was speaking at someplace else. They asked him to speak, and they get there. He gets there and they say, we're running out of time. We don't think we're going to have you to, be able to speak. And I think it was Jane Fonda or one of the other women that were there actually just brings Dick Gregory up on stage and has him go up there and speak with them. And people literally start turning around that were leaving this rally because they heard him over the loudspeaker. And it's just small examples like that. I mean, it was women, it was Native Americans, it was Black folks, it was Latinos, it was, gay Americans. I mean, you just name it. He was fighting for everybody. And that thread of human rights is what persists today.
Wow. Folks, it is called The One and Only Dick Gregory. Premieres on Showtime on July 4th. Andre Gaines, the director. We certainly appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much. It is a fantastic documentary.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. Thanks so much. All right, folks, education is an issue that we always talk about here on this show, and the group 50 Can. They have been very much involved in ed reform in this country. I'm on their board of directors, and also we've been sharing an office space with for the past 3 years. Darrell Bradford is the new president of 50 Can. He joins us right now. Darrell, glad to have you back on the show. First and foremost, what's your goal as president of 50 Can? What do you want to accomplish?
Don't mess it up. Thank you very much for having me, and obviously, thank you for being involved with everything that we do and carrying this message to your audience in a way that only you can. I guess the three things I'm working on primarily, one of them is that we need a better vision for for the education system that we want in this country. And so we built a sort of a marketing platform that we call Believe in Better, which is just about the way that, the education system should work, about what you should be entitled to and what you should have as a family, about the sort of freedoms and flexibility that you deserve as somebody who's trying to help a kid become the best version of themselves. And it's great to talk about it, but the actual work of 50 Can, as you know, is to help pass laws in states. And so my first and maybe most important project is to take that vision and turn it into actual policies that people can, talk to state legislators about, or governors, or people in their communities, and get off the ground and hopefully, improve the quality of education for all kids in the country. So I guess that's the first thing. The second thing is that, and you know this, right? We're a nonprofit, and now we're like a quasi black-led nonprofit, and we're working in 10 states, and many of our executive directors are people of color. And to do this work, you can't do it for free. And so the next thing is kind of how do we continue to make it sustainable? How do we continue to get people to understand that education doesn't just improve itself? Charter schools didn't just happen. Somebody had to pass a law to do that. So a group of people had to lobby to do that. And, many other issues, it's not free to do that. So that's really the the second thing. And then the third, and I guess maybe like the final one, I'm succeeding a extraordinary and a former elected official, and just like a wonderful mind on policy and strategy. And I just want to figure out what about 50 Can is different with me as its president than with her as its president. And she really got us to this place that we are now, and we're all incredibly grateful for the work that she did. But it's like, what's that next phase? Is it louder? Is it harder? Is it more nuanced? Is it more interesting? I got to figure that out, and I got to figure it out soon.
I've made this point that the ed reform movement has been all too often a white-led, white-run, and the reality is that you can't change education in America if you don't have Black folks who are at the positions of power.
Yeah, I mean, one of the I almost take it for granted. The amount of people who were like, I can't believe you're the president of 50 Can. It was like the outpouring from other Black folks who work in the movement and who have jobs like mine was sort of was shocking. There's a real underrepresentation at the decision-making level, and it is just different to be at the decision-making level, like when you're not just deciding for you, but you're deciding for lots of folks. I think the other thing too is just like, power works the way it works, right? Like, people have money, they have connections, and they do things. And like the first group of people 25 years ago, or whatever, that were like doing ed reform were basically white people who went to Ivy League colleges, right? And so that those are the people that were doing it. It is not in the political interests of anybody to have a movement that is narrow in that way and that isn't diverse, right? And so you'll see now, it's like late to the party, and I don't need to tell you, but finally people are focusing on the fact that, like, look, we built all these systems up, we don't have enough Black-led schools, right? Like the independent school sector is basically the place where you see the Black-led schools. It's like, how come we don't have any more? Why don't we have more community-based charter schools, right? Like, why is it that the American teaching force is 80% white? Like, what's the policy agenda around that? We have states that are working on those kind of issues too. So just from a practical standpoint, even if you didn't care about whether or not Black people or people of color were involved at leadership level or whatever, their people care, right? Like, voters care, and diverse coalitions are better. You go back to our fledgling candidate from Kentucky. He's going and he's talking to everybody, and that has been something that the education reform movement has not done well either.
So last question I have for you in terms of this next year, what specifically do you want our audience to be doing, or when it comes to ed reform? What should they be advocating for?
Yeah, so I could think of 10 things, but I'm only going to give you 3 because allegedly that's what a good speech is. So the first one is, be ready for the fall to be crazy, because I think people believe that with this huge infusion of money from Washington, D.C., $190 billion for K-12 education over the last 12 or 15 months or something, that everybody's sort of on a glide path back to school, and that is not true. Like, they're already like teacher union leaders in particular who are like stoking up kind of discontent and anxiety around Delta variant and everything else, right? So just be prepared for an incredibly disrupted start to the school year. That's the first thing. The second thing I would just say, and I mentioned that money, and I know the last time I had a chance to talk to you, we brought it up then. Like, more money than has ever been spent in a single year, right, is being spent on American K-12 education right now, and nobody knows anything about it. So, like, there's a woman who runs this thing called the Edunomics Lab at Georgetown, and she's like, school districts, they're not working on on hiring a bunch of new tutors, right? They're not working on an extended day or like a huge summer program so the kids who've been inside for a year can go out and run around or go to museums or anything, right? They're giving everybody raises, right? They're taking on long-term projects that are like capital projects that have nothing to do with intervening in the next year and a half for kids who are who are wildly behind. And in Texas, your home state, they released a bunch of data about this last year. I mean, we're talking about like three grades worth of learning loss in English. I mean, in language arts and math. Like it is serious. And so the second thing is just like be involved in that. Like go pull yourself down a school board member, grab an elected official, tell them to be a part of it. Here's the third thing. Don't wait, right? So the best thing, if there can be any best thing about the last year and a half, is that we've seen lots of folks, Black folks, brown folks, white folks, all kinds of folks, right? Solving problems of education themselves in a way that we have not normally seen. Part of that I think came out of the realization that what Ed reformers was saying was true, right? Like we've been telling people forever that big urban school bureaucracies, they treat you bad unless you can move around. And folks are like, yeah, it can't be that bad. And now people are like, oh my God, it's really that bad. Like I have this amazing mortgage. I can't get my kid into school. Like what is going on here, right? And that just brought lots of different people to the table. And so this whole movement now that we see, which is like community led, right? It's like, it's pods, like it's micro schools. It's like having an individual teacher who comes to you and a small group of people and teaches your kid. Like, those are the kinds of things we should be embracing, right? Like, let's make the disruptions of the past year and a half that gave us good things, let's make those things permanent while we try to build a better system for everybody.
All right, then. Darrell Bradford, 50 Can. If people want more information, where do they go?
50can.org, or you can find me online. I'm at DYRNWYN, and it's a big green eye. That's me. It is my eye. So, and thank you for having me, sir.
All right, Darrell, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a bunch. Looking forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
All right, then. All right, y'all. 4th of July is on Sunday. But our next topic really applies to whether or not we're talking about 4th of July, whether we're talking about Juneteenth, or look, I'm from Texas. We don't need no damn reason to barbecue. My next guest, the author of the book, Black Smoke, African Americans and the United States of Barbecue. Go ahead and show that book, please. Show the book. Thank you right now. That is Adrian Miller, a food historian. Adrian, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, man, let's get right into it. I'm gonna put my panel in this thing as well. And so Black Smoke, what's so different about us barbecuing? Do we barbecue differently from white folks?
Yeah, so I've been asked what's the difference between white barbecue and black barbecue, and the short answer is black barbecue tastes better. But the reason I wrote this book is because if you look at TV shows, newspaper articles, magazines, black people are bit players in the barbecue story or left out entirely. And I thought that was whack. So this is a celebration of African-American barbecue culture and just a reminder that African-Americans have been key to the barbecue story in the United States.
And so, and you're absolutely right, man. When you look at these stories, when you talk about, pit masters, and you like, I know what y'all could have found some black people who know how to barbecue. Really? Like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. Go get. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say one of the pivotal moment for me is I was watching the Food Network in 2004, and there was Paula Deen's Southern Barbecue, and it was an hour-long special, no black people at all. And so when the credits were rolling,
hold on. You did say Paula Deen.
I did say Paula Deen. Yes, I know. But I thought there might be a couple of brothers and sisters, right? So, I was sitting there going, first of all, how's this happen? And then secondly, I thought, well, maybe I got it twisted. Maybe it was Paula Deen's Scandinavian barbecue sponsored by Alabama white sauce. Maybe I got it twisted, but wow. That was just like the perfect example of what's going on.
So is there anything? What have we done differently? Because we look, for no pun intended, we bring a little extra flavor to everything.
Yeah.
So when it comes to barbecue, what did we bring in particular that everybody else can't really try to touch?
Well, you hit the nail on the head, right? It's all about seasoning. So we're the ones that have brought our adept skill at seasoning. And so, barbecue today, like when African Americans barbecue, we're going to have spare ribs, pork shoulder. In Texas, you're going to have brisket, but usually chicken and sausage.
Oh, you say in Texas we don't have brisket?
No, in Texas we do have brisket.
I'm about to say, I'm about to cuss you out. My bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. But with our barbecue, we're gonna have some good sauce because there's this conventional wisdom that's emerging that barbecue shouldn't be sauced. A lot of
I don't know who the hell came up with that. That's dumb as hell.
I know, right? Yeah. So so we're gonna have a good sauce because often for a black barbecue joint, the sauce is really the calling card for what they do. But the seasoning stuff, the slamming sauce, also the next level side dishes. We bring that extra flavor. And a lot of African Americans are cooking with charcoal and wood. So this idea that barbecue should be low and slow, indirect cooking, that's one way to do it. But a lot of people cook hot, fast, then slow when they're cooking ribs or chicken or sausage, things like that. So I wanted to explore kind of what is the signature dishes of African American barbecue culture.
Now, before I go to my panelists with the barbecue questions, I gotta ask you. Look, you wrote a book called Black Smoke. I got Negroes in Kansas City who swear they the best. I got my Uncle Marvin. When we first went to Kansas City, he was talking about, this is how we do it. I was like, man, sit your ass down. And so my daddy had to show him how we do that thing. And everybody talking about Gates. What's the other place in Kansas City they always talking about?
Arthur Bryant.
Yeah. I had both of them. Then Memphis. What kills me are Negroes from North Carolina who I said, y'all ain't in no barbecue conversation. So stop. So if you had to say top 5 cities / states in terms of king of barbecue, what's your top 5?
All right. So some of this is going to make you mad. But I would say Kansas City, Memphis, and I would say East Texas.
Oh, stop. Are you saying KC is 1? See, we rank it. Are you going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Or are you going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, growing up in Denver, man, Kansas was the strongest.
So let's start right. So you going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got KC 1. Why?
KC 1 because I'm a spare ribs guy. And Gates is my favorite commercial.
Yes, Gates.
Yeah. So thank you for backing me up, my sister. And then
bullshit. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, and then Memphis because I also like ribs, but also they got the slamming pork shoulder sandwich. They've got barbecue bologna and spaghetti. So Memphis.
Oh hell, right there. See right now. See you keep that damn barbecue. You keep that bologna shit. You might as well say spam as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, go on ahead. That's okay. Kansas City 1. You got Memphis 2. Who you got 3?
3 is East Texas. Because when people say Texas barbecue, they automatically go to Central Texas and they think about the Central European immigrants, the way they did it. But I like the way they do it in East Texas.
First of all, I'm glad you make the distinction. But what people don't understand is there literally are 4 or 5 distinct barbecue standards in Texas. And you're right. What has become known as Texas barbecue is European. But you literally have you got that. You got your black folks with the infusion of the Creole migration from Louisiana. I mean, you got how Mexicans barbecue. So you got different styles of barbecue in Texas because it's a big ass state.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wanted to break it down.
So you got East Texas 3. You're wrong, but go ahead. Who's 4 and 5?
4 is Southside Chicago, which gets no love as a regional style.
Okay, Southside, but I lived in Chicago 6 years. Because part of that is so what's the definitive place to go get Southside barbecue in Chicago?
So I would say Honey One. I think that's a good place. Alice's is a good place. And there's this new place I like called Q's Tips and Wings because he's doing turkey. So he's doing like turkey tips, turkey legs, stuff like that. It's kind of like one of the big trends in barbecue right now, in African-American barbecue. So those are the
first of all, Turkey Leg Hut in Houston is killing everybody. Yeah. Okay, that's 4. You said Southside Chicago is 4. Who's 5th?
All right, this is really gonna make you mad, but I'm gonna give love to East North Carolina, man. There's some brothers still doing whole hog, like Ed Mitchell and his son Ryan Mitchell. Oh, he's leaving. And then you got Rodney Scott in South Carolina doing whole hog, man. Rodney Scott.
Y'all can have, Brittany, Paraji, and Michael. Y'all can go ahead and ask whatever y'all want. His ass has lost his damn mind, North Carolina. Y'all go ahead and talk to his ass. I'm done.
Well, I was with you with Gates Barbecue. I'm biased. I lived out in Kansas City for about 2 months when I was Miss Black America, and the Gates family took care of me. I learned all about 4 generations of their barbecue history.
Damn North Carolina.
So I'm biased. I'm
All right.
Go on, Brittany, go on here and ask your damn question. I might as well. Right. This book called Black Smoke. You blowing smoke up. Go ahead, go on.
Come on, you like this smoke, man. You know you like this smoke. Got to give love to all the styles.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I'm curious. Is there a specific person that you've met or pitmaster that you've uncovered in your research that really stuck with you?
Yeah, so this person is somebody I discovered historical, but I found a woman named Mary John who was in 1840s Arkansas. And her birth name is Marie Jean because she was born when Arkansas was in French territory. But there's a newspaper article about her superintending a barbecue in 1840 in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And superintending is the word that they used back then, which is the equivalent of being a pitmaster. And so dig this, an enslaved woman telling dudes what to do with barbecue in the 1840s. She ends up buying her freedom because she was loaned out to do barbecues. And she stays in Arkansas. It was called the Arkansas Post. That was the name of the place where she stayed. And she ran a restaurant. And then when she dies, the white newspaper eulogizes her like they would any great white chef. And I just thought that was next level. I was blown away by that story.
Wow.
All right, then. All right, Michael, ain't nobody talked about Detroit.
Well, we have Parks Barbecue here in Detroit. I'm a vegetarian, and I know
ain't nobody talked about Detroit.
Hey, Adrian, question for you. When we study the history of slavery, we see that Africans are bringing techniques to cook food, season food, things like this, and it's changing the palates of white people across the country. Talk about some of the techniques, some of the seasoning techniques, etc., that Africans used when cooking barbecue and changing the way white people ate barbecue.
Yeah, so the unfortunate thing is a lot of this is not documented, but what we do see is we see a lot of articles about people complaining that the barbecue was too hot, too spicy. And that was Africans and later African Americans taking that vinegar and red pepper sauce, kind of sauce. That was the earliest barbecue sauce. And that's how it was seasoned. For 2 centuries, that's how people made barbecue. It was really only later that we started to get tomato sauces and other things. So I think not only that, seasoning with red chilies, with red pepper, but also just Africans bringing their familiarity and expertise with smoking. That gets all thrown into the mix that leads to this delicious thing that we so love today.
All right, thanks.
All right, Faraji. Yes. Baltimore, Baltimore didn't come up.
All right, so here's my question. Is there a healthy way to barbecue? I'm vegan. So I'm looking and I hear.
Oh, damn! I got 2 damn vegans.
Hold up.
What the hell, y'all? What the hell, y'all barbecuing? Mushrooms?
That's what I've been talking about. Hold on, man.
You can barbecue vegetables.
Yeah, what the hell on y'all pit? Oh, I got some tofu on the pit.
No, not tofu. Not tofu.
Look, I'm just asking a brother.
Faraji and Mike, what the hell do y'all keep?
Look, man, you could put some. I know y'all gonna laugh at me. You could grill some carrots. You can grill a lot of vegetables.
Faraji.
My sound
right
can't
here.
cut off.
I know right now, did your ass just say barbecue some carrots?
Real talk.
I'm going to call your ass Baraji because you are not named Faraji. I don't know. All right, Adrian, go ahead.
Hey, but real talk.
Hey, Adrian, okay, hold up. Okay, Adrian, have you had any good fake ass barbecue vegan? Give me, come on. What you got anything for us?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you've ever had jackfruit is a fruit from Asia that people are making, and it's one of the biggest trends in black barbecue. I was just in Oakland. There was a place called Vegan Mob, and I had some jackfruit. And if you go to a place where somebody knows what they're doing, they can make jackfruit look, taste, and have the texture of pork.
But I guess here's the thing. Okay, I don't want the texture of pork. It's cool that I don't have the texture. But here's my question, though.
Hold up. I know your ass Muslim. He said the texture of pork. It ain't pork.
Right.
I don't need look. I don't need the texture of pork.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, so but I meant to say, like, where you're seeing it is like chopped pork and pulled pork sandwiches. They're mimicking that by using jackfruit. But yeah, it's fruit, so it's not pork. But
no, I get that. Yeah. But I'm wondering, in terms of just the health and just in terms of the varying diets that Black people have, from lactose free to celiac to being gluten free, how has all of the varying diets impacted how Black people barbecue in this country?
It's messed every damn thing up. No, you can't have hell no. I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. Adrian, you can't have get-togethers no more. You gotta have all this special shit. Okay, you're gonna have beef. Can you have turkey? I need vegan. I'm gluten-free. How much cholesterol? Bring your own goddamn food. Okay? Bring your own damn food. I'm tired of this. It used to be you had Black cookouts. Everybody ate the same damn thing. Now you gotta cook 5, 6, 7 different. Hell no. One barbecue pit.
No,
that's it.
No. Come on, this is 2021.
Yeah.
People don't all eat the same way.
Bring your own damn food team.
I know it.
So yeah,
Can we let the author speak? Can we let Mr. Black Smoke speak, please?
Yeah. So no, people are adjusting, right? They're being hosted, but to Roland's point, right? It's becoming more like a cookout where people are bringing stuff more like a potluck situation because of all the different, dietary restrictions and what's going on. But I can just tell you, more and more people are trying to do plant-based barbecue, and I know a lot of people don't think that's a real thing, but that's one of the big trends right now in African American barbecue. You're just seeing it more and more. Especially in the big cities. So, jackfruit, mushrooms, things like that.
That's what I wanted. That's the one.
All right. Last question. I need, okay, Adrian. What constitutes a real barbecue? What is required to be on the pit for a real barbecue? Now, before you answer, Adrian, let me warn you. If you get this wrong, I will not post this segment on YouTube. I am not going to recommend your book. Now, you can ask Gerald Horn. I sell a lot of books. So I need you to think, because you already messed up that North Carolina bullshit. So I need you to think real careful. What is required to be on a pit for a real, I ain't say cookout. Yeah. I said a barbecue.
Oh,
yeah. You invite the folk to we having a barbecue. This is the last question. Go.
All right. For me, it's pork spare ribs, hot links, like a spicy hot link sausage, and some chicken. That's the basics. And then in terms of side dishes, some coleslaw and potato salad without raisins.
Stop. Hold up. Stop. Hold up. Man, I said the pit. I ain't having no damn sides. Okay.
All right.
So
spare ribs, chicken, and sausage. Because look, not everybody can pull off a pork shoulder and brisket. That you gotta have some skill to do that.
Hey man, I ain't say what everybody can't do. I said what is required. Now at least you got 3 out of the 4 right. Cause see, I'm talking about these people, and some of y'all gonna do this tomorrow and Sunday. Don't call that bullshit no barbecue if your ass got some hamburgers and hot dogs. Okay?
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%.
Let me be clear. Hamburgers and hot dogs, that's the pre-ass barbecue snack.
The snack.
Okay? Don't come with that. I'm telling y'all right now, your asses invite me to a barbecue, and you tell me y'all got hamburger. I got invited to a damn barbecue when I was living, and probably because his sister, she's married to a white boy, and they were all healthy and shit. They had hamburgers, hot dogs, and portobello mushrooms on the grill. I said, this is some bullshit. We were there 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Did you eat the potato salad, Roland?
Nichelle, you know I'm talking about you and your ex-husband. Y'all invited people talk about we having a barbecue, had some bullshit hamburgers, hot dogs, and some portobello mushrooms. Man, let me tell y'all something. Ain't like growing up. One of my, I think my Aunt Betty, God rest her soul, she recently passed, invited us to a damn cookout barbecue. Man, we got to their house. My daddy was like, "What's this bullshit? Hamburgers and hot dogs." My dad said, "Man, pack this shit up. We going home." That's what happened. Straight up, my dad said, "Pack this shit up. We going home."
I'm curious.
When you came to our house, Adrian, we had chicken, links, ribs, brisket.
Okay.
That's the basic. That's the 4. If you have the holy trinity of gumbo.
Yep.
And if y'all know what that means, the holy trinity of gumbo. There are 4. That's the holy trinity of barbecue: chicken, brisket, links, ribs. Now you got 3 out of 4, so I'm gonna go ahead and post your book on social.
All right, thank you.
But don't make that mistake again, leaving off brisket.
All right.
Yo,
this will make me happy. I'm gonna make my first brisket tomorrow on an old oil drum smoker. So y'all wish me luck.
Hey, listen, look. There's a brother in Houston. Who goes to our church. Man, look, dog, I'm serious. When I say how he literally makes brisket, you do not need a knife.
Whoa.
No, you don't understand. I'm talking about that brisket. Literally, if you pick that brisket up, that brisket literally it shreds. Cecil, and see, Cecil, you bullshitting, Cecil. I've been asking you to let me videotape it and show Cecil. I know that's my secret. Look, Cecil, I'm gonna call your wife Shirley and say, "Get it done." Adrian, I ain't lying. This brisket is off the chain. I'm talking about you do not need a knife or fork. That brisket is off the chain. So Cecil in Houston, Church Without Walls. Cecil, I'm gonna call you when the show over. I'm telling you, you need to go ahead and let a brother know how that done. Y'all, the book is called Black Smoke: African Americans and the United States of Barbecue. That's the book. It also has 22 great recipes. What you should do, Adrian, you should shoot a video. Let us see how that your first brisket came out. Because you can't be writing no damn book on barbecue and your ass can't barbecue.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Y'all, that is it. Michael, Baraji, and Brittany. Come here, bullshit ass. Put some cat.
Hey, Roland. Fit, live, win. That's how we roll.
Faraji. If you came to my crib and asked me, "Do we have any barbecue carrots on that grill?" Faraji, I'm telling you right now, honest to God, y'all, I'm trying to be as I would smack the shit out of you. I would give you a perm. I would give you a perm right there on the spot. If you ask me, y'all got some carrots on the pit. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You better keep that crap in Baltimore. You bring that.
I just bring my own. There you go, Uncle Will.
You damn right. You damn right. Better bring your own Tupperware with some charred ass carrots. All right, y'all. You done, Michael? What the hell you got on your pit? Your vegan ass pit.
Well, you know what, man? I'm teaching online classes this weekend, man, dealing with African history. So I probably won't even. I'll probably have some salad with some garbanzo beans, unless the sister wants to invite me over, man. But I'm teaching online classes Saturday and Sunday, brother.
Michael,
check out AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Check out AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I'm teaching online classes.
Brittany, can you please save this damn segment? Brittany, can you please save this segment? Because I don't know where these two Negroes came from. I don't know where these two Hotep Negroes came from.
Hey, bro, I've been a vegetarian 16 years, man. You know,
Brittany gone.
I'm gonna have some chicken, some ribs, some brisket. I'm gonna have some real barbecue, y'all.
Talking about cooked salad. You sound like Erica Savage Wilson.
Well, not cooked salad.
You can't walk it back. You're going to have barbecue salad. Your ass going to have barbecue salad. Right. You're going to put the lettuce, tomato, and the cucumber on the grill next to Faraji's damn carrots. I'm done. I got to go. Y'all, that's it. I got to go. Y'all, please, if y'all want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered, not these carrot salad eating ass barbecue smoking pit people, please join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar you give goes to support our show. We, of course, in our new office space, we want y'all to support what we do. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans to give $50 each over the course of a year, $4.90 a month, 13 cents a day. You can give by Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal.me/R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo.com/RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com, Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. That's it, y'all. We will not have a show on Monday. Don't forget, Essence Festival, Virtual Fest today, tomorrow, Sunday. We will have a recap of the final weekend on Tuesday's show. Again, we thank Coca-Cola for being a sponsor for that. Folks, we always end the show, of course, with our charter members of our fan club. That's it. I hope y'all enjoy the weekend, spend some good time with the family. Cherish every single moment because they all matter. And so I shall see y'all on Tuesday. Y'all know how we end it. This is where we have, we support real black barbecue, not carrot and smoked lettuce, smoked tomatoes, and smoked cucumbers. No.
We're going to we need a segment on colon cancer too after this, brother.
Yeah, and some of y'all who eat y'all salad, they got pesticides in it as well. So don't be trying to sit in trying to be all like you want to be all bougie and shit. Oh,
I'm not being bougie.
I'll do this. Yep. Whatever. Whatever. Some shit in early for y'all vegans too. So whatever. I'm gonna see y'all on Tuesday. Oh!
Y'all all right? Look at how beautiful you look. 30 years ago today. 30 years ago today. You can sing if you know it. Never because you never because you in pain. I don't want to go down tonight. Come on. Oh, the little woman. Everybody. That's what I want. Sing it. Oh, wanna be someone's friend. Have I got a friend tonight? Baby, I could never leave you. Oh no, no, no. Such a shame, such a shame. It's written with love. Come on. I only want to see you. Where? Only want to Your Thank you.